What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, the uncrowned Otaku. I'm here to talk about the latest K-drama that dropped on Netflix, and the final episode came out today. The Interest of Love. And first of all, the name is genius. The Interest of Love is because they work at a bank. How simple is that? Interest? I'm interested. I got the hiccups. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm interested in baby girl. Ooh, okay, that works. Bank, you accrue interest. The interest of their love is accruing day after day after day. The title is so simplistic that it's borderline genius. And these hiccups are killing me. Excuse me, I'm sorry. But the title, first of all, slam dunk of a title. Now, spoilers coming ahead. I just watched the last episode, and by God, this may be the best K-drama that I think I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot. I've seen Startup, which has been my number one for a long time. Still my number one. Because I just watched the finale, I gotta let it soak in a little bit. But it's definitely, Interest of Love is definitely number 2, which is bumping down Crash Landing on You. That's going down to number 3. Then you got like Familiar Wife, you got Run On. There's a whole bunch of K-dramas that I've done watched. But this one, it's, how can I put this? It's a very realistic take on love in the real world. And like I said, spoilers coming up ahead, because I'm really going to be talking about the ending, because that's really what kind of blew my mind and leading up to the ending. Like, we know that Song-soo and Soo-young, they like each other. They're interested in each other. It's clear as day. They've kissed on multiple occasions, even while they had a boyfriend and a girlfriend, respectively. And also, speaking on that, this is the one K-drama where I was actually rooting for the side character starting off. Because, you know, Song-soo had another girl, Park Mi-young, and Soo-young had another dude, his name is Jeong, something like that. I may be butchering these names. I apologize. Respectfully, I tried my best. But I was really rooting for the side characters to actually stay with the main characters, the main protagonists of the story, with the main love interest. Because they started off working so good with them. Song-soo was kind of like a realist dude who always kind of thinking worst case scenario. Mi-young is an optimist. Granted, she was born into a rich family, so she was like, nah, we good, don't worry. If you can give me 1%, I'll fill up the other 99%. I'll make sure you love me. And then Jong was like, hey, yo, Soo-young, you come from a hard family, a hard life. I got you. What you want? You want somebody to hold an umbrella while it rains? That's me. You want a ring? I'm going to draw a ring on your finger, hold it up to the sun. That's the biggest, shiniest rock you'll ever get. I'm like, yes, this is what both of those characters need. Of course, needless to say, it kind of devolves from there, and then it pushes the two together. But they've never fully lost interest. This goes to show you, and they really harp on this during the finale, all it takes is one simple action to throw everything off course. And in the finale, they're reminiscing on what would have happened if things were different. The biggest instance is episode 1. He has a date with Soo-young, the main interest. But because he was running late, so he's rushing there. And she sees him rushing to the hotel, but she also sees him stop. He hesitates. He turns around and walks away. But then he comes back. She doesn't wait to see that he turns around. Once she sees him walking away from the hotel, she says, oh, he has to have second thoughts about me. I'm done. She leaves. So they both think. Song-soo is like, what if I never hesitated? What if I showed up that night? And she goes, what if I just waited a little bit longer? We probably would have gotten married and had a baby. Second instance was they were at like an overnight training session seminar thing for the bank. And he goes, you know, what if I turned around and interrupted your phone call? And she goes, what if I think she said something like, what if I never answered the phone or something like that. So they're reminiscing on, there's 4 particular instances that they can note that changed the dynamic of their relationship, for better or for worse. So this K-drama really just kind of brings it to reality that it's not necessarily the entire journey that makes up the relationship. It's these major instances. And in this entire show, it's 4 major instances that defined what was going to happen going forward. And then at the ending still gives me mixed emotions, but I think it's also very realistic. The ending, first of all, she ghosts him. It's a 16-episode series. Episode 15, you know, she had already left. She went back home, didn't tell anybody, and blah, blah, blah. Y'all watched it, right? So when he finds her, he makes her promise that she'll come back to where he is next week, and they'll get some pork cutlets. She ghosts him. Completely ghosts him. And from there, it's been, I think, 4 years now. He's now an assistant bank branch manager at a new location, which just so happens to be where she's living. She's now, instead of working at the bank, she quit and she now runs a cafe. And guess what her cafe needs? A loan. And guess where she goes to get the loan? His bank. So when he meets up with her, because he has to inspect the place and make sure that, it qualifies for the loan, he sees her and they kind of just start reminiscing. Not immediately. It's a little awkward at first, but they grow to reminisce. And while they're reminiscing, again, that's where they start talking about the what if I did this, what if I did that. And they both agree that, yeah, they had interest in each other. They liked each other. They even borderline admit that, yeah, they loved each other. And they defined love like, love to them is nothing special. Love is just sticking with the person you like through everyday activities. And I was like, yeah, that's low-key profound and obvious at the same time. Love don't gotta be something just this special every day. No, love is just like, hey, man, it's another day, my girl. Let's get through this, baby. Let's get through this. I was here for that too. But at the end, when they're walking up the hill of oblivion, y'all know why they call it that because y'all done watched it. She asks him, this is the hill of oblivion that makes you forget things. You only walk up here usually when you want to forget something. So what did you forget? And he looks at her and, they were talking about all the things they did wrong, all the things that was cool in the past and stuff like that. And he looks at her and he goes, absolutely nothing. And then they just both kind of smile and then they continue to walk. There's no relationship. This is the part where I have mixed feelings. Like, they both clearly are into each other, but for some reason or another, they won't get together. And on Soo Young's part, I think it's because so much time has passed. I don't think she feels right jumping back into that. And on his side, I think that it's because she didn't want him to, she didn't necessarily want him to look for him. That's kind of his attitude. Because he's been looking for her the whole time. He looked for throughout the whole show, he always found her. That was the thing. She likes to run away, and he would always find her, no matter what. This last time, he did not find her. He looked for a couple, he said like a week or two, and he looked for her, but he didn't find her this time. And his boy was like, well, when he was talking to his boy before he went up and met with her, he was saying like, yo, I couldn't find her, and I don't think she wants me to find her, so I'm going to just live my life. And he goes, you're saying that, but didn't you just give up on her? And he goes, no, I would never give up on her. And then thinks to himself, maybe I did give up. And I think that's why we see at the end that they're not in a dedicated relationship, because so much has happened where Soo Young kind of wants him to do things without telling him. And him being such an overthinker, Sang-soo overthinks everything, honestly. He is thinking way too much and not really doing what she would expect him to do, I guess, in a way, which isn't necessarily his fault either. But yeah, they're definitely like each other, but their wires are just so crossed that I think the opportunity for them to be together has just completely passed. And even though they don't explicitly say that, that's the underlying tone that we get as they're walking up the hill towards the end. You get the feeling that, yes, they both acknowledge they like each other, they have feelings, they've kissed on multiple occasions. Maybe done a little bit more than kiss, we don't know for sure. But we know the interest is there. And on both sides, we have the friends telling them, like, if you want, for Soo Young, she can stop punishing herself, because she made up that whole lie about sleeping with a dude she actually never slept with, just so she could break all the relationships and never have a chance of them coming back. Little did she know, Sang-soo didn't care. And on Sang-soo's side, his boy is like, listen, you got these emotions, but you have to be careful. You gotta be careful with these emotions, because if you're playing with people, you cannot do that. You need to be dead serious. So either you want her or you don't. And Sang-soo is not really sure ever. Ever, bro. So the ending, oh God, I kicked my camera stand. I hope that didn't mess up the shot. So the ending leaves me like, at one point, on one side, I wish they did get together, because it's just so obvious. That's what needs to happen. And even, like, Soo Young even referenced that they would be married, they would have kids, and then she says, they might fight over who takes the kids to, I messed up the light, who takes the kids to daycare and stuff like that. And then she was like, it might lead to divorce. And Sang-soo goes, you always think about the worst. Maybe we would just be happily ever after. And she goes, maybe. And that maybe kind of infers that we'll never know. They're both kind of set in their separate lives at this point. That I don't think Soo Young looks like throughout this last episode, she was half and half. She wasn't sure if she wanted to get back into a relationship, and I don't know if she feels that Song-soo would be okay if she approached him like, hey, would you like to give this another shot? And Song-soo, throughout this last episode, is kind of just leaning into whatever Soo-young wants, not really acknowledging or mentioning what he himself desires. He himself really still kind of does love her and would like to be in a relationship, but he's going to respect what Soo-young is doing because she left and didn't want to be found. He's still kind of riding off that energy. Yes, we can be cool. I'm not gonna approach the relationship issue because you left me, and I'm gonna respect your decision, because if I wasn't a branch manager, we probably never would have saw each other again. Which is realistic to him, and it's realistic to the world. Like, she ghosted you. Without this freak accident, y'all would have never saw each other. And at the end, I'm just really sitting there like, golly, that is real life for so many people. All it takes is 1 to 4 instances to define a relationship and screw everything up. What in a different dimension, they were happily ever after, married with children. But because of hesitation and a lack of explaining themselves properly and conveying their emotions, yes, they're successful in their own ventures, but I don't think they'll ever have a love life. I don't think either of them will ever find somebody else that'll be their other half. I think this is just it for them. And that's crazy to think about, right? And that's why this K-drama to me is number 2, but depending on how these emotions sit throughout the rest of the week, it could project itself to number 1. It might just catapult over Startup. Because again, it's so realistic that I appreciate it. It did something different than all these other K-dramas. This one wasn't a happily ever after. No, sir. This one was a, nigga, this real life. What you expect? And at first, when the credits started rolling, I was pissed. I was like, what the hell you mean they just walking up a hill? What's going to happen? But then I sat back and really thought about it. And I'm like, that happens every day. Every day, bro. But that's where I'm going to leave it right now. I'm still kind of stewing in some of my emotions, still kind of trying to figure out how good is the ending for me personally. Right now, that ending right now, if you were to ask me, 10 out of 10 ending. 10 out of 10 ending. We're going to see if it stays that way when I process a little bit more. What did y'all think? The Interest of Love final episode just dropped today. Comment down below if you're liking it. If you think there's any other K-dramas I need to be watching, comment down below as well. Put me on game. I might have already seen them. I'll let you know if I saw it already, but put me on game. Meantime, in between time, Uncrowned Kingdom. I've been your boy, the Uncrowned Otaku. That's the fire that keeps the kingdom burning safely. Hey, I hope y'all be easy, man. Peace, bros. Peace, bros. I'll never leave y'all. Y'all better believe that.